So I've been talking online a while about building a paperback shelf. The ones that I found that you can buy are usually too deep for paperbacks, and people have books behind books, and then they're stacked sideways going up, and it just looks bad. And so I wanted to make a specific shelf for the sizing of paperbacks. So what I wanted was to be able to just fit one finger in, so it's easy to get out. It comes out about a ½ inch from the book, so it doesn't take up a lot of room. It's really thin up against the wall, and on the bottom shelf I made room for the hardcovers, because initially when I had it all paperback to the floor, you'd have to lay on the floor to look at the bottom shelf, so that didn't work. So we went and did a bigger shelf down here, and then it gives you 6 shelves. And this sizing is, adjustable. If you want it longer, whatever, you got to do the adjustments. But this specific video is for this size right here, which holds about however many books this is. What would you guess? 300?
No.
200?
200.
1,000?
No.
Okay. This many books, and so we're going to go step by step and build this thing now. And go. Okay, so here are the plans that I made out. It's really basic. There will be a PDF you can download there in the description. Basically what you want to do is you want to go to Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, and just go get common board. It's the cheapest. I mean, you can pay for the expensive stuff if you want, but the common board works just fine. They come in different sizes, like tall. And you gotta find someone that works there, and they can saw it for you. But in my experience, sometimes they're not thrilled to do this, and it's better to find someone first in the department and ask them if they can cut boards. So what you want here is, put that up there for me. You want 7 of these. These are the ones that the books will actually sit on. They are 38.5 wide. 7 of these, 4 1/4, 38.5. You need one that is 4 1/4 wide, and then it is 40 inches. So this will be the top. Then you want 2 4 1/4 wide, and these are 61 inches tall. These are the sides, and this is the base. So this is going to be fatter than the other ones. It goes on the bottom and it keeps it steady. It is 7 1/4 wide this way, and it is 40 inches. So this will go on the bottom. Everything sits on top of it. All right. So next we're going to go into, I like to sand down the edges. It's up to you how much you want to sand it. If you don't want to sand it at all, I just don't, you get splinters and stuff. So I kind of sand the edges. And alright, what we're going to do here is we're going to sand these edges. They come kind of sharp sometimes. And you don't want a splinter. They also have these price tags still on them. So just pop that off with a screwdriver or a pair of pliers. Fucker. Yeah, you can leave. This will be the outer part. This will be where the book sits, the shelf where the book sits. So this edge will be on the outside. And so you definitely want to sand this edge But I also like to round the edges a little bit. I don't know if you can see it here, but it's kind of rough. So it's better just to round it. You can keep it sharp, but yeah. We're going to go ahead and round these edges. Make sure there's no splinters. Alright, so after everything is sanded, then I like to lay it out before we start drilling or anything, just to make sure you understand the layout. I just kind of lay it out with the boards on the ground. This way you can see, like this one, you know, this goes on top of this. And it's not, you know, you don't start drilling it out here and it's wrong. And we'll worry about these once we get the initial box bolted in. So don't worry about those, but what we're going to do first is drill the holes for these. And you definitely want to drill before you start screwing, because these are cheap boards and they'll just split. They'll probably split anyway, but you know, we try to keep that down to a minimum. So alright, I think I'm going to start drilling here. Alright, so now we're going to drill the holes in. Now that everything's kind of semi-lined up, just make sure that it's flush here. Alright, now that you've got your square, your box, we want to start with the first shelf, and this one actually sits on the big fat one at the bottom. It just makes everything sturdy, and you want to start at the bottom because it'll keep this further apart, because you'll notice that it'll be hard to get these things in. Sometimes they don't fit perfectly, and you just gotta muscle it in. This is cheap stuff here. This isn't professional. You know. Get in it. So I'm gonna start with this bottom shelf here, and you can see like it's kind of wedged in there. Doesn't want to go in. Just beat it in there. I'm gonna set the phone down because I'm gonna hammer this in to where you want it flush. You don't want it sticking out. And then we're gonna drill them in here and here. Okay, now we're going to consult the directions here. Let's see. So we're going to do the measurements, and we're going right here, 7.5 inches. That will give you the size of the book, about a finger length on top of it for the standard paperback. So we're going to get out the old tape measure and make our marks before we start drilling holes. Measure out 7.5. Then you put the shelf right here. I use these little clamps. Hold it up. This one side's usually good. And then I always get a book and just make sure that it looks right. You know, I take it down here, same distance, finger in there. Just kind of eyeball it. You can also see if it's even that way. So your shelf is even, and you don't got to mess with levels and stuff, because you know, I never know if the floor's level or what it's actually leveling. There, so it's even. So now we're coming around here, and we're going to drill holes here and put this shelf on. So here we got two. Here's what should start to get a little easier. As you can see, we got the space in the book. I can't see anything, but and you want to go, you know, see it got me there. Sure, it's the same across. You just slide it over. Boom, boom. So now what you want to do is just go to the next one. 7.5. Put these down there. Make sure it's always 7.5 in between the shelves, not the screws. That's the important part. 7.5 from here to here. 7.5. The screws are not 7.5 because the board is an inch or a quarter or 3/4 of an inch, so it's kind of in the middle. So yeah, just do that. Repeat for the rest of them till you get to the bottom, and then there will be the bigger shelf for the hardcovers. Well, we moved inside the garage because we can. Why the hell I'm standing out in the sun, killing myself? I don't know. So what's cool here is, now that you've done it, you know what it's supposed to look like with the finger. So you can kind of quickly just bump it up to get it close, and then you go through and measure it once it's close. You know, it doesn't have to be exact. It doesn't matter. It's your shelf. You know, it's not for sale. Don't kill yourself stressing out about getting everything perfect. I'm sure that there's people, wood-making people watching this. They're rolling, getting pissed by my lack of actual know-how of woodworking. So that one's a little tilty. Just be more careful. I'll be more careful, not you. I'm sure you're very careful. All right. So all the shelves are on. Got the big at the bottom, space. You can see here. This is the base. This is what it should look like. So actually the hardcovers hang off here. I like that better because then the dust just goes here and it doesn't get into the book so much, and you can just put a vacuum cleaner and just right underneath. So the next step is the staining process. You know, this is the cool part because you can get it to look however you want. You want it dark, light, you can paint it, you know. That's what I use on my other two shelves, so it's going to match. So I'll have four of these suckers, all looking the same, looking good. And you know, after you make this, if you see any issues where you're like, oh man, this isn't flush, or you know, maybe it's tilted a little, don't worry too much about it, because once it's stained and you know it's dry and the books are on it, like you won't be able to tell. You won't be able to tell the difference, that anything's wrong. I'm really sloppy with my nails here, with my screws, you know. But once this is all stained, I mean, these black screws, you ain't gonna see nothing. It's, you know, it's honestly not that important. Besides, I just put the other shelves right next to it, so ain't nobody gonna be looking at your shelves because it's gonna be full of cool ass books, you know. So don't sweat the imperfections. You know, this isn't about wood making. It's just making a shelf that fits your books perfect.
And what you want to do here is go with the grain. Just kidding, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just slapped this shit on there. I don't care. The books are going to cover it up. I'm not worried about it. Slap it on.
So here is the day after. You definitely gotta let these things sit for 24 hours. Just touch it with your hand if it's wet, you know. You don't want to put a book on there if it's wet, because it will stain your book. There's some spaces here that I missed. Didn't dry that well. We're just going to go over those edges. All you really need to look out for is the outsides. Stuff that would be showing. You know, like this. Like if this looks faded, whatever, there's going to be stuff sitting on it all the time, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, touch up the edges, and then it should be good to go. Start putting books on it. Okay, there it is. We are done. As you can see, threw some books up there real fast. Nothing in order, but they're not on the floor anymore. I was pretty happy with how it came out, except for the stain. It's a little bit different than my old ones. This is darker, so I don't know. Can always redo it later. So yeah, that as you can see, I don't know what I'm doing, but that just goes to show you that you can do it too. Room to grow.